Let's create a color wheel. So in previous videos, you learned how to either measure out a color wheel using a sheet of sketchbook paper that measured 8.5 by 11, or how to measure out a color wheel using a piece of sketchbook paper measuring 9 by 12, or you had the option of using the link in your Canvas assignment to print out a color wheel. I'm going to be working with the printed out version, but no matter which version you're working with, note that the circles for our color divisions are in the exact same position. Think of it as a clock. The very top circle is your 12 o'clock position, and then you have your 1, your 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, back to the 12 o'clock position. Same thing with the one we made. If you follow the directions given to you, you will have a circle at the top, that is your 12 o'clock, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and back to the 12 o'clock position. And that is even true for the smaller one if you had the smaller sketchbook paper. 12 o'clock position, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So for this, you will need your color wheel, and you will need a set of colored pencils. So I am using a 12 color set of colored pencils by Sargent. Now, when we talk about the color wheel, you have to place the colors in a certain order. What a color wheel does is it shows us how colors mix together and interact with each other. So it's important to follow these instructions as they are given. When we start working with a color wheel, we are going to identify 3 important colors that make up a set known as the primary colors. Primary colors you should be familiar with. It's something you have been learning about since you were young. So I'm going to come to my colored pencil set and I'm going to pull out my primary colors. As a review, primary colors are your red, your yellow, and your blue. They have to be arranged in a certain order for the color wheel to work. So I'm going to start with my red color pencil, and I'm going to place it in the circle that corresponds with the 8 o'clock position on a clock. So again, if this is my 12 o'clock, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And on the handmade color wheels, that would be this circle at line 7. I'm going to color in this circle with my red color pencil. Now, if you go outside of the line, that is okay. We are looking for the correct placement of our colors. Yes, we do want this filled in enough that we can tell what the color is that we are filling in. So I'm going to do a little bit of the 4-directional shading technique with my color pencil here to fill in this circle. And I'm going to label that as a primary color. I'm going to work next with one of my other primary colors, and that's going to be yellow. And yellow is going to be placed at the 12 o'clock position, the circle at the very top. So whether it's this color wheel or the one you made, it is going to be the circle at the very top. So once again, I want to fill in the circle. If I go slightly outside of it, that is okay. And I'm going to again fill it in using that 4-directional shading technique just to make sure I get as much coverage of my yellow as possible. And once I have that colored in, I'm going to label it also as a primary color. That leaves my last primary color, which is blue, and it is going to be placed down here at the 4 o'clock position on the clock. For those of you who made your own color wheel, it's going to be at line 4, this circle. So once again, I'm going to fill in this circle with my blue. And again, if I go slightly outside of the lines, that is okay. I just want to make sure I get my blue circle filled in with a nice solid color of blue. And once again, I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to label this as primary. Now that I have my primary colors placed, and notice they are equal distance from each other, you have a primary color, 3 empty circles, a primary color, 3 empty circles, a primary color, 3 empty circles. Primary colors can mix together to create your other colors, and that is what the color wheel shows us. So I am going to now work with my secondary colors. And if you're not sure what those are, the color wheel is going to tell you. My primary colors are going to mix together to create a secondary color. And that secondary color is going to be right in the middle of the primary colors that make it. So if I look at this circle at the 10 o'clock position of my clock, for those of you with the handmade color wheel, it's going to be the circle at line number 8. This is going to be the secondary color that red and yellow make. So that will be secondary color orange. So I'm going to take my orange color pencil and fill in my secondary circle that is in between, directly in the middle of red and yellow. So as I'm doing this, I should have red, an empty circle, orange, an empty circle, and yellow. Once again, I'm using that 4-directional shading technique to make sure that I get a solid filled color of orange. And I'm going to take my pencil and label it as a secondary color. So you'll notice in between yellow and blue, there is also a circle in the middle. It is at the 2 o'clock position. For those of you with the handmade color wheel, this would be the circle at line 3. And I'm going to place the secondary color that blue and yellow make when they mix together. And that would be green. So once again, I'm going to fill in that circle between blue and yellow make green, with secondary color green. Again, I have a primary, an empty space, a secondary, an empty space, and a primary. And once that is colored in, I'm going to label it as a secondary. That leaves one empty space between my primaries, and I'm talking about the spaces directly in the middle. And that is going to be my secondary color that red and blue make. That would be purple. So I'm going to pull out my purple color pencil and fill in the circle at the 6 o'clock position, the very bottom circle of my color wheel. And I will once again label this as secondary. So now that I have my primaries and my secondaries placed, you notice that there is a circle left blank in between each of them. This is where our intermediate, sometimes also called tertiary colors, will reside. These are the colors that you often find with a hyphenated name. So looking at their placement, this circle at the 9 o'clock position is going to be a mixture of red and orange. So that will be red-orange. Now, since I only have 12 colors in my pencil set, I'm going to have to do a little bit of color mixing. So I'm going to take my orange and my red color pencils to make my red-orange color. My goal here is to have something that's more orange than red, but not quite so orange that it's going to look like my secondary color orange. When you mix colors, the general rule is you start with the lightest of the colors you're mixing and add the darker color to it. So looking at this, orange is a brighter color, a little bit lighter. I'm going to start with it. So in my circle here at the 9 o'clock position between red and orange, I'm going to start creating red-orange. And I'm not pressing as hard as I did before. I'm going to lay a layer of orange color pencil inside of there. I'm going to come in over top of it. Again, I'm not going to press hard, with a layer of red color pencil. And in fact, when I work with the darker of the two colors I'm mixing, I usually keep the pressure of it even lighter than I did the first color. And that's because dark colors can easily take over a lighter color. Then I'm going to come back and layer another section of orange on top, and another section of red. And I'm going to keep on doing this layering process until I get a color of red-orange that is a good balance between my red and my orange colors beside it. So again, I don't want it to look like red, and I don't want it to look like orange. I want it to look like the mixture of the two. So once I'm happy with my red-orange color, I'm then going to go on to my next intermediate color. So this one is in between orange and yellow. So this is going to be yellow-orange. And once again, I want to start with the lighter of the two colors. So in this case, that is yellow. And most of the time, anytime you work with yellow, it's going to be your lighter color. There's only one other mixing medium that would be lighter than yellow, and that would be, of course, white. So once again, I'm going to carefully layer orange and yellow together. Remember, when it comes to the darker of the two colors, I want to be a little careful with it when I first start applying it, because if I put too much of it on at once, there's no taking it away. Yellow is not a color that can easily cover up anything. It's a very light color, so I want to be careful with how much of the darker color I layer on top of my yellows. And once I'm happy with my yellow-orange color, again, I want something that's not orange like the original orange secondary color over here. I'm going to darken that slightly more so it shows up a little better. But I don't want something to stay as light as yellow, so I want the combination of the two. Then I move on. So here is yellow, here is green. In between them will be the intermediate color of yellow-green. So once again, I'm going to start with yellow. And I'm going to layer green over top. And I'm going to continue to do that until I get a color of yellow-green that again doesn't look like green, but isn't yellow either. So I want that balance between the two colors. My next intermediate is in between green and blue. So I am going to mix green and blue together. And of those, the green is the lightest. So I'm going to layer some green down first. And come over top with some blue. So I'm looking to get a nice blue-green color in between these. Once I'm happy with it, I move on to my next intermediate color. It is in between blue and purple. So this will, of course, be blue-purple. Now, depending on the color set, some of you may look at it and think your blue's lighter, and some of you may look at it and think your purple's lighter. For me, I think my purple seems a bit lighter than my blue, so I'm going to start with purple. And once again, going to lay down one color, come over top of it with the other, and keep on layering them until I get a blue-purple color that I like. And once I'm happy with it, that leaves me one more intermediate color, and this is going to be my red-purple. And similar to blue-purple, depending on your color pencil set, some may think the purple is a lighter color, some may think the red is a lighter color. Looking at them, they seem close to about the same. I'm going to say red might be a touch lighter in value than my purple, so I'm going to start with a little bit of red first. And apply some purple over top. And once again, I'm going to continue to layer my reds and my purples together until I get a red-purple color that I like. Now that I have those colored in, I'm going to come in and label them. Now, since they are a small area and you may have more room on your homemade circles than I have on mine, I'm going to put a little key over here, and I'm going to put T is equal to the term tertiary, and I is equal to the term intermediate. And that way I can come in here and right by these put T's and I's, and I just have to look down here in the corner to remind myself what T and I stands for. So that is coloring in our color wheel.